All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Just give a few more seconds for people to come on in. But thank you for coming. My name is Tiana. I am a part of the Blavity Media Solutions team, directly supporting Blavity 360, where we're going to be providing a lot of products, tools, tips, tricks, hacks for digital publishers, sharing all the insights that Blavity has learned from over the years and been able to grow into a successful business with. And so this is the first of what will become a monthly series with Blavity 360 webinars that are just helping digital publishers and businesses grow. And so this month, I am happy to introduce Lily Ogbuefi, who is the Associate Director of SEO for Blavity. She's an expert at creating SEO-focused content strategies, including but not limited to keyword ideation, keyword implementation, traffic generation, backlinking, and meta tagging. With over 6 years of experience, Lily's developed many content strategy solutions for both e-commerce and digital publishing brands like yours, one of which increased brand offerings and stimulated a revenue increase from $4.2 million to $20.6 million within the span of 1 year during her time at Breezy LLC. So we're very lucky to have her as part of the Blavity team, and we're very excited that she's here to share her knowledge and expertise in the SEO field with all of us today. So with that said, I will kick it off over to you, Lily. Thanks so much for joining and sharing your time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a great introduction. Let me see if I can share my screen and then we can get this started. Okay, amazing. All right. I tried to make the slides a little bit entertaining because SEO is supposed to be entertaining despite what anyone says. But let's start with a brief rundown of what SEO is. So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And in simple terms, it means the process of improving your website to increase its visibility on Google. So whenever you search for something on Google, and I'm sure everyone here does, so it could be that you're hungry and you're trying to figure out what to eat, and you're searching for food near me or Chinese food near me. Or maybe you've heard about like Beyonce being on tour and she's doing stuff with Blue Ivy and you're searching for that. Whatever you're searching for on Google, and all the sites that appear when you search for those things, that's happening because some SEO work has been done. And then why is SEO important? So the very big thing, and the reason why every publisher, every business is trying to get their SEO efforts up, is visibility. When you appear on the first page of Google, you get organic traffic. And the biggest part of that is evergreen traffic. So for most publishers, when they create a story, it probably lives on the site and gets traffic for like a couple of days and it dies out. But then when you create an SEO focused story and it gets to where you want it to be, you can have a story that's giving you traffic every single day for the next 5 to 10 years. It's little effort that gives you a lot more growth and a lot more sustainable growth than when you're doing just trending content. The other thing that's important about SEO is it's good for brand awareness. So when you search for, and I can give you an example real quick. Let's say I have a headache and I'm Googling why is my head aching. The results that I see on the first page, Harvard University, WebMD, Cleveland Clinic, I see these websites all the time when I search for anything that has to do with my health. And so now I know a lot more about that brand. I may not have heard about this brand before searching for this, but now, like the more I search for content like this, I'm seeing WebMD, I know that they're the brand to trust for anything that's related to health. And then the other part of that is better informed journalism. So the the amount of research that goes into creating SEO content shows you what your audience is searching for. And that helps you figure out what kind of content to create for them. So you're not going in blind. You're not like starting a pitch session and you're like, oh, I don't know what to pitch for this week, because you already have the data there of what people are looking for. And all you need to do is create the content that matches that. Does anyone have any questions so far? All right. Okay. The three major aspects of SEO are keyword research, content production, and technical SEO. So with keyword research, that's you basically trying to find and analyze the terms that people search for on Google or Bing or whatever the search engine is, even though we mostly care about Google these days. And then after you have the keyword research done, the next part of that is content production. And that's where you take the information that you've gotten from the keywords and you're creating valuable content for your audience. And then the third part of that is technical SEO. So that's just making sure that you're improving the technical aspects of your website to help search engines like Google find, crawl, and index your pages. Because if you're creating content and Google cannot find it, then that kind of defeats the purpose. I'm going to take a beat here and say that even though technical SEO is like a component of this, if you don't have the resources to get into that yet, and you can only do keyword research and content production, that's enough for you to start to see results. The technical aspect just, it really boosts the effort that you've made with the keyword research and the content production. So this is just an example here of some articles that appear on Google and specific keywords related to them. How to manifest someone, Megan Good, and I can't remember the other celebrity, but they talk a lot about manifesting their partners. And let's say that story was trending at some point and you wanted to create something on manifestation. This keyword gets 9,900 monthly search volume. So an average of 9,900 people are searching for this every single month. And that also means that if you're one of the people that show up on the first page, when I search for how to manifest someone, you're going to get constant traffic just from people clicking on this and reading on this from that search term. And over here is another example. If you're searching for Beyonce net worth, or if you're trying to create that story, 110,000 people are searching for that every single month. And think about how many celebrities we have, celebrities of color, celebrities in general. There's always going to be questions about their net worth, their relationships, and things like that. And those kind of stories leave evergreen on Google. So you can create that story once, and you're as long as you keep it updated, you're constantly getting traffic to your site from that one story. I'm going to stop sharing for a bit to see if anyone has any questions.
Looks like we have one from Naya Chapman. She asks, how do you find relevant keywords?
Okay, that is amazing because I'm about to get into that slide. I'm going to answer your question in a second. Okay. These are the tools that are best for finding relevant keywords. So the first one is specific SEO tools. There's so many of this, but I'm recommending SEMrush and Ahrefs because that's just like, it's way easier and it gives you more information than any other tool out there. The other one is Google Autocomplete. So that's when you type something in your search bar on Google and Google auto-fills that for you based on searches that other people have done. And I'm going to do a quick demonstration on this in a second. The third is People Also Ask. So it's a search feature in Google that shows other queries or questions that people are entering into Google. And the fourth one is Google Trends. Google Trends shows you what is trending in real time and what was popular in a particular period. So I use SEMrush for most of my keyword research, and I'm going to do a quick demonstration right here. If I wanted to write an article on love languages. I would type love languages into this box and it would give me a ton of ideas. Every single thing it's showing me here is data on what people are actually searching for every month. This number right here is the search volume. So that's how many people are searching for it in a month. And then this number right here where it says KD is the keyword difficulty. The higher the number, the harder it is to rank for that content. The lower the number, the easier it is to rank for that content. So depending on your domain authority, your site might, like, I feel like a sweet spot is probably like 50 and below. Any other thing above that, it's like super hard. It would probably be sites like CNN, Huffington Post, and maybe Mayo Clinic that kind of hit those numbers. So here's an example. There's 5 love languages, acts of service love languages tests, and you just have to keep scrolling to figure out what really works for your story. Another example would be, let's say I want to do something on communication, what to write in a card, because personally I have that, this is just an example. Let's say I run into issues when I'm trying to send cards to people and I don't necessarily know what to say. And I feel like I may be able to create an article that is beneficial for people in that sense. I would just type what to write in here, and it would give me all the examples that I need. So what to write in a sympathy card, 27,000 people are searching for that monthly. And then there's wedding card, birthday card, baby shower, and so on and so forth. The other example that I'm going to give is Google autocomplete. So if you type in what to do, Google auto fills it out for you here. And all these examples it's showing you is what people are searching for. The only difference between using this and using SEMrush is, or any other SEO tool, is those tools give you the exact numbers. So you know if there's a lot of people searching for it or if there's not that many people searching for it, as opposed to autocomplete where it just gives you the ideas, but you're not necessarily seeing the numbers and the data behind that. Another example that we can use is why do men? And so you can see all the examples here. Whatever you put into Google, as far as you don't type the complete thing out, it would give you some auto, this might not be a good example, it would give you some autocomplete based on what people are searching for on Google. And then people also ask, here's how you find that. For people also ask, you have to actually search for something completely. So who is the richest Black man in America? Obviously, you guys know what this looks like you have all your results on Google, but if you look at this section here, it's showing you some related questions that people are asking about. So you might search for this and then you might decide, you know what, maybe I don't want to write a story on the richest Black man in America. Maybe I want to write a story on the top 5 richest African Americans or the top 10 richest Black people or the first Black American billionaire. Essentially, what this does is give you additional ideas related to the initial thing that you searched for, and it's additional ideas based on what people are also asking. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The final one that I wanted to show you is Google Trends. And just FYI, every single tool here, except for this, is free. Any tool that's from Google is completely free, so you don't need to pay to use this. Google Trends is great if you're like an entertainment site, or even if you're a lifestyle site that covers trending content from time to time. It shows you what's trending in real time and what's also trending over time. So for example, if I click on trending now, I can see, I don't know what this is, Diablo 4, it's probably a movie, but that movie is trending right now. Robert De Niro is trending, Ted Lasso finale is trending. This is a daily search trend. If I go to real-time search trends, in the past 24 hours, this is what has been trending. And I think another interesting way to use Google Trends that I personally prefer is seeing how a particular topic is trending over time. So for example, the Bridgerton series was just released a few weeks ago. If I search for Bridgerton here, television series, and change this filter to 30 days, it's going to show me, okay, this is like perfect. It trended upwards around this time, which was exactly when the series was released, and now it's trending downwards. But it's also showing me the different questions that people are asking around this. So porphyria is a disorder that people are asking questions about. And I'm guessing it has something to do with the plot. What's wrong with Judge Bridgerton? What's wrong with Queen George? These are questions that are trending about Bridgerton. So if you as a publisher wanted to create an article about Bridgerton or multiple articles, and you wanted it to go further than just reviewing the plot or reviewing the actors, this could be a standalone story. What was wrong with King George in Bridgerton? Like that could be a standalone story because people are constantly asking that question. And just FYI, I'm giving this example because I know a brand that actually did this and they got a ton of traffic in that short period, both on search and both on social, because again, Google Trends is showing you what is trending. So at that point in time, when you publish that, you start to see immediate returns. I am stopping share again for a second just to see if anyone has any questions. Okay.
I have a quick question for you, Lily. For you and your line of work that you do, how often are you checking like things like Google Trends? I'm sure like changes pretty often, daily, if not like a couple times per day. So how often are you checking these like these different tools?
For SEMrush, I use SEMrush on a daily basis. My entire life and work and all the recommendations that I give the brands that I work with rely on SEMrush. I don't use Google Trends as often because the brands that I also work with don't publish that much trending content. So it's SEMrush is on a daily basis. Google Trends is whenever something is trending or whenever we want to create trending content. And I have a great example, actually. One of the brands that I worked with in the past wanted to create content around gym and exercising. And so I had put that exact word, gym, in Google Trends, and it showed me questions that were trending around the gym. And one of them was very interesting. What is vabbing in the gym? I don't know if anyone here is familiar with that or like when that trended, but it's essentially when you, excuse me, because this is a professional setting, but it's essentially when you dab your vagina juices on your body in the gym to attract the male guys, basically, and men, and it has something to do with pheromones. I don't know the full extent on that, but I remember that brand created that story and they worked with experts to either support that point or debunk the point, but just basically explain the trend and share more about whether or not it works. And they got about close to 50K traffic in a very short time. The thing about Google Trends is it's not as long-lived as your other evergreen SEO efforts, but you also know when you're creating that you're just doing it for the trend. So in the short time that it works really well.
Wow.
It looks like we have a couple questions.
Yeah, feel free to answer.
Okay, for Micah Davis, how often should you do updates to stories so that they continue to rank high? That's a great question. In the past, one of the core things that every SEO person would tell you is that when you create a story and it starts to rank, make sure you're updating it periodically. So if a story does super well, maybe you update it like 2 to 3 times a year. If it doesn't do that, if it's not as high performing as the others, maybe you can do once or twice. I think that is still true. The only other thing that I would say though is I'm beginning to notice on SERPs, and that's just basically like the Google pages, that updating an article is simply not enough, just because there's so many people creating new content. So as much as you're updating your articles, make sure that you're also putting, let me use a ratio, so that's like, so this is more easy to understand. If you're putting 40% of your effort into updating articles, make sure you're putting 60% into creating new articles, because at some point, like your article might live on Google for maybe a year or 2 years, and it's constantly giving you traffic. Then after 2 years, somebody else produces a new article on the same topic, and Google might feel like, you know what, this new article is way better. It's fresher. We're going to outrank you. And sometimes you might update the article and get your ranking back. Sometimes you may not. So that's why I like strongly believe in continuously doing research, continuously creating new content, as opposed to just creating content as a one and done thing and depending completely on updates. Daniel wants to know how I've leveraged Google Trends. I work with shoe cleaner brands as a client, and I could use like a tool like this for being fairly useful. Is Google Trends only relative for inspired content creation around what's popular and not so much keyword targeting? Yes and no. You can use Google Trends for keyword targeting if you already know what the keyword you're trying to work with is. I feel like for what you're trying to do, Daniel, Google Trends work if you use it in conjunction with SEMrush. So, for example, you working with a shoe cleaner brand, you've done your keyword research and you found out that the keyword that you want to target is shoe cleaning tools that you can find in your home. That's like a super random and vague example, but just bear with me. If that's the keyword that you're trying to work with, you can put that into Google Trends, and Google Trends will actually show you like how people are searching for that over time. And honestly, I can do a quick example here. Okay. So SEMrush clean shoe, just to see what comes up. Okay, so let's say I have how to clean suede shoes and how to clean white shoes, and I want to figure out which one to go after. I can put both in Google Trends. And just make sure you're clicking search term as opposed to topic, because sometimes it gives you both options. Past 12 months. And this seems pretty standard to me. Like the trend seems pretty, it's not very drastic in either way. So I feel like that's a good option. If I wanted to also compare with how to clean white shoes. This is showing me that this is trending upwards now. And that makes sense because we're getting into the summer months. I don't think anyone's wearing white shoes in the winter. So that's kind of how this would work for this. You can use this without SEMrush doing the exact same thing that I did. The only benefit with SEMrush for this, like I mentioned earlier, is that you actually have the exact numbers. Google Trends is not going to show you how many people are searching for all of this. It's just going to show you the trend of the search. But SEMrush actually shows you how many people are searching for this. So you know that, okay, 27,000 people, that's not bad, as opposed to like 100 people, because there also are keywords like that where it's just only 100 people searching for it. Okay. So you've done all the keyword research. What's next? Content production and optimization. When you create any piece of content using the research that you've done, make sure that you're providing 360 value to the query so that the user does not need to go to another website for more information. If I search for something and I go on Google and I click on one site, if I get all the information that I need, I'm not going to need to go back to Google and scroll and look for another site. And just FYI, Google recognizes when the user is doing all of these things. So they also know when your site is not providing all the information that it needs to provide. And to do that, you need to ask yourself, what does the user need to know right now? And what is some additional information that could be helpful to the user in this process? So I have a great example of this. Let's say I want to find out what Beyonce's net worth is. And I click on the very first site that gives me that answer. This site tells me exactly what her net worth is, 500 million, which is amazing. Obviously as an article, it's going to have to, they're going to have to explain it in detail, which they did. So I already have all the answers that I need in this first paragraph, but the site goes even further to give me some more information as to how Beyonce amassed that wealth. So we are talking about her early life, Destiny's Child, her solo career, her endorsement deals, Netflix deals. It's even answering a question that people probably are also asking: did Beyonce make 300 million off Uber? And then it goes even further and shows me her net worth over time and her net worth relating to real estate, and then other fun facts. You may not need to be as extensive as this article is for whatever story, like it really depends on the story that you're creating. But for the most part, just making sure that you're answering all the questions that need to be answered related to that keyword. Another example that I can think about is, let's say you're trying to buy a lipstick and you Google the best lipstick for brown skin. If you're the publisher creating that story, you want to make sure that you're not only providing that list of the best lipsticks for brown skin, you're also providing maybe information on what to think about when you're buying a lipstick. Do you have oily skin or do you have chapped skin, and how does that affect the kind of lipstick that you're choosing? Whatever information that you think would be helpful to that user at that point in time, make sure that you're covering the bulk of it in your article. So here's why this is important. There's something called EAT: experience, expertise, authority, trust, aka the Google algorithm. If you're familiar with social media like Instagram, Facebook, there's always talks about the algorithm, and I feel like for the most part, no one never really knows what the algorithm is, because Instagram doesn't necessarily come out and say this is our algorithm. Experts just guess what it's supposed to be based on what works. For SEO, Google tells us exactly what the algorithm is and exactly what we need to do to succeed. And this is just a quote from them. This EAT is how we evaluate if our search ranking systems are providing helpful, relevant information. Would ordinary people feel the results they get demonstrate EAT? So essentially, if you have your keyword and you create content that demonstrates experience, expertise, authority, trust, which organically happens when you're providing that 360 value, you've already done 90% of the work. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second in case anyone has any questions on what we've just talked about. Okay, moving on. Okay, so once you've done the research, you've created a great article. These are some additional steps that you need to take to make sure that your story is fully optimized. So you'd want to include your keyword or a variation of your keyword in your title, your introduction, a couple of times within the body of your article, your SEO title, your SEO description, and your slug. I'm going to walk you through all of that so that, just so kind of you have a feel for what I'm talking about. When I say your keyword or a variation of your keyword, you may have done research and the keyword that you found was exercises for women. You don't necessarily have to use that exact same word every single time within the body of your article. You can say workouts for women. It means the exact same thing. Or you can say workouts for ladies. it means the exact same thing, and Google understands that. The only place where I would say be very strict in keeping the wording the same would be in the SEO title and in the slug. So here is a quick example. This article was recently created, and the keyword in question was, would you rather questions for couples? The keyword is probably a couple times within the article, or maybe somewhere in the introduction. It's not, we're not really stoic here about, obviously, this is like, if the intent of the user searching for would you rather questions for couple is to find actual questions, we have 101 questions here. So I feel like we've already done the most thing that we need to do. The only other thing would be to, optimize the title and so on and so forth. So over here is the SEO title. If you use WordPress, it should look exactly like this. If you have your own self-hosted CMS, it will probably be in the settings section, but it should say SEO title or meta title. Would you rather questions for couples goes in here in the title. It's also in the slug, and it's somewhere in the meta description here. Honestly, as much as I'm saying this, I don't want you to think about this in a very stoic and cold way, because like I mentioned earlier, as far as you're creating content that provides value matching that keyword, you've done most of the work. So don't feel like you have to force the keyword if it doesn't work organically. This story is a great example because it's very easy to fit the keyword in there. But there'll be examples like where you may not be able to fit the keyword. If it goes in the slug and you're not able to fit it in the meta description, it's fine. Just find a different way to say it. And that's kind of what I mean by using a variation of the keyword.
Lily, we have one question just about website template platforms. In your experience, do you find that there's any that are better than others at SEO optimization?
A lot of people say, and a lot of experts also say, that WordPress is the best because WordPress has been doing it for a very long time. WordPress also allows for plugins that make your optimization process easier that Squarespace might not have. So for example, Yoast, I don't think, I may be wrong, but I don't think Squarespace has Yoast, and that's the plugin that we're using to do this. But that's not to say that Squarespace is not a good option. Just most publishers tend to go for WordPress because it has more flexibility. If you're a small business or a small blog and you're not publishing a ton of content on a daily basis, then you may be able to get away with Squarespace, especially if it does provide you this section. I don't know if it does, but if you have this section to edit your SEO title and your slug and your meta description, then that's the bulk of what you need.
We also have another question. I think it might get on to further in your presentation, but about e-commerce and retail brands, any best practices to drive revenue?
Yeah, I don't have a section for e-commerce, so I'm just going to answer that now. Sure. And can you clarify, is this an e-commerce brand creating their own content, their own products, or an e-commerce brand selling products that kind of belong to other merchants?
Great question. Ebony, if you heard that question, if you want to just throw that in there. Both, okay. She said.
All right. Okay. So I worked with an e-commerce brand in the past, and one of the biggest things that made our content stand out on search was this section that I just explained to you, the SEO title and editing that. One of the things that the other retailers were doing that we were not is we're making sure we had original content. So right now I'm speaking to if you're selling products that belong to other merchants. If you're selling a foundation, let's say it's called Maybelline, that foundation, that product exists in different places. And I bet you if you open every of those product links on Google, you would see that they have the same product description. And that's because they're copying and pasting exactly what the manufacturer has provided for them. And what many people don't know is that Google frowns a lot on plagiarism. It doesn't care that the manufacturer provided that information to you. If there's a ton of sites repeating the same information, like it's gonna derail your SEO efforts. So having original product description is something that worked for us, and then making sure that we are optimizing the SEO title with the product name and whatever keyword that we're targeting also works. If you are a business owner that's selling products that belong to you, so not other people's products, your own products that you produced, you should do research around what people are searching for relating to your products. So everything that I've said works for publishers, also works for businesses. If you're selling hair wraps, for example, and let me see if I can do a quick show and tell here. Head wraps for women, African head wraps, turban head wraps. I'll try to use these exact terms in my SEO title or SEO description or in my category page, because this is exactly what people are searching for. So if I carried African head wraps, for example, I'd probably want to optimize for this. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so here you can see like different terms that people are searching for around scarves. There's infinity scarf, pashmina scarf, blanket scarf. If your products match any of this, then you'd want to take that exact keyword and make sure that you're optimizing your product pages for it. And if you have a ton of products, it's probably going to be, different. Another example I can think of is wigs. Human hair wigs. Okay, so there's glueless, there's lace fronts, there's human hair wigs for Black women, there's cheap, there's U-parts, like whatever the keyword is as it's related to your business. Again, make sure that the way I've described optimizing an article, make sure you're optimizing the product description that same way for it. So original content, optimizing your original product descriptions, my bad, optimizing your SEO title. And there's another thing that I'm kind of losing track of right now, but if I remember in the course of the presentation, I will come back to it. Hey. Okay, also remember to structure your story or products with H2s and link strategically to internal content. So if we had this article on would you rather questions for couples, and we have, say, another article on 36 questions to fall in love, we're adding a link here. It's great for whoever's reading the article to see that we have additional content around this, but it's also great for Google, because when the Google bots crawl your content, they also crawl these links. And now they know that you have additional content on this same topic and they're all related. This is especially important because if you start to perform well for let's say this article, for example, if you start to perform well for this, then because Google is crawling all of these links, if there's any related theme here, those start to perform well as well, because the signals get transferred. And on that note, I just remembered what I was going to say in terms of e-commerce content. The third tip is to make sure that you have Google My Business set up. This doesn't work for everyone. It works for people that have shops or people that sell products. So if you've ever searched for Chinese food near me, the reason why I can see all of these results here is because they have Google My Business set up. So that helps you get traffic and just like leads and buyers from people that are in your area. I know I had a client once that I worked with that was selling CBD, and he had Google My Business set up, and he would get a ton of calls from people in the area just trying to purchase that product. So that's one thing that helps. If you sell online, you can also list your products on, let's see, actually, you can also list your products on Google My Business. And then when Google, okay, hold on. Yeah, so when you list your products there, you have the potential of coming up in this kind of bar that populates when people search for products. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Okay. The only scratch that. Optimizing your article is like one part of it, but you also need to optimize your images. And that's because optimized images can drive traffic to your page. And it's also great for screen readers. And by that, I mean, there are people that are not able to see what's written on your site, or they might have a disability, and they use screen readers to read the content. If your image is optimized, and we'll get to that in a second, you're providing information that allows the screen readers to read or describe what's in the image. And Google loves accessibility. So that's one thing to note. Here is a quick example. I don't know why I keep using Beyonce. I'm actually not part of the Beehive, but this is working today. Let's say I was Googling Beyonce tour outfits, and I wanted to see all the pictures. So I'm looking at pictures here. This picture is from an article that People magazine created. If I click on this other picture, it's from an article that someone else created. I can decide just from looking at this picture to click on the article. And now I'm reading this article, not because, like, if you look at the first page, this site, Uproxx, I'm pretty sure it's not ranking at all. It's not even on the first page, but the image appeared here because it was optimized, and suddenly I'm visiting the website because of that. So that's like, whatever you can leverage, make sure you're leveraging that. There are two cells that are very important for you to fill out when you're optimizing your image. So one is the alt text, one is the title, and also the caption to give credits to whoever owns that image. The alt text should describe the image because that's what the screen readers use. And then the title should mirror your article title. So this is a quick example. This article had something to do with, it was actually called non-traditional engagement rings. And non-traditional engagement rings was the actual keyword as well. The alt text here says, a Black man in a suit proposes to a woman with a non-traditional engagement ring. So it's basically describing this picture. And I was lucky enough to be able to fit the keyword in there. Sometimes you may not be able to, but if you can, definitely do that. And then the title is called non-traditional engagement rings to match the title of the article. Don't make sure you're not naming your images like this. If you have an edit team or a creative team that creates photos for you, tell them to name the images, either descriptive of your article or descriptive of the actual image. But yeah, we shouldn't do things like this because it's kind of defeats the purpose and prevents us from showing up where we should ordinarily show up. Does anyone have any questions on images, optimizing images? No? Okay. Okay. All right. I wanted to show you guys an example of a result we've gotten from SEO. So it's not like I'm telling you all these amazing things and I'm not showing you how exactly it works, I pulled this article from Travel Noir, one of Blavity's brands. If you Google the word lost ID before flights, Travel and Leisure comes up first, and then Travel Noir comes up second for this article. And when I looked at Google Search Console, I saw that for a period of 3 months, this article actually gave Travel Noir a total of 9,000 clicks. So that's like 3,000 clicks every month, which I think is about 100 clicks per day. And that's just one article. So think about a site that publishes a ton of articles. If you're publishing a ton of SEO optimized articles, this number could easily, like this could be 9.3 thousand times 100. It could easily skyrocket. And this is not to say that you shouldn't create trending content, because there's space for trending content everywhere. We've also seen how you can use Google Trends for that. But there's also space for creating content that lives on Google for a very long time. So this was created 3 months ago. Till this day, it's still bringing traffic. Towards the end of the year, it's probably still going to bring traffic. And it's just something that was, it's a one and done effort, or one and check back twice effort, as opposed to something that you just create once and it lasts for a week and it dies down. And then these are like examples of all the keywords that are driving traffic to that particular story. But on that note, that's all I have for everyone. If anyone has any further questions, I think I can take a second to answer, and then. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna hand this over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Lily. I learned a lot. I was taking notes throughout the whole thing. I hope everyone that joined learned a lot. If you do have any questions, I'll hang back for a little bit. I'm happy to take any questions and can forward them over to Lily if I can't answer them. But this will close in about 8 minutes. So feel free to throw any other questions you have in the QA. Otherwise, everyone have a great rest of your day. Lily, again, thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. This was amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Elisha, I see your question. Optimizing images. Do you recommend doing this on social? Yes, on all of your platforms, not just Google. If you notice, I think Lily at one point she did search someone's Instagram. That also pops up in Google. So definitely optimize for all of your platforms. This recording will be posted on the Blavity 360 website. So stay tuned for that. We will have other webinars coming up. Our next one next month will be all about e-commerce, actually. So we'll definitely keep everyone informed moving forward on all of this great content that we'll be sharing.